And actually, I should mention that before, when you the place where you put your package is important because you'd better have this directory installed. No, sorry. Yeah, you better put it in a directory which the whole directory does not contain any space, because the stupid method cannot deal with that situation. So for me, like, actually, I will remote. I think all of you have already installed the ng Plus, right? Okay. So, okay, we'll start from here. I hope everyone has got the files ready and put in a location where there's no space. I think I saved it somewhere. Yeah. Okay, for me, I'll just put under C. I'll paste everything to that. Sorry. Alright. If you can find this file in the tutorial folder, it's basically explained every step you might need to do this calibration. And I'll go through this today to show you how to do that. But basically, first I'll just make sure you have no space in this whole directory. No space. So, step one, we do something in ng+. So, I provide some example file, which you can go to the example folder. I think, as we mentioned, like most of you will do the, I think 4 students of you will do the calculation to 15 minutes data, right? So that's why I have this demo 15-minute IDF. You can open it. in EP launch and open it in Idea Editor to look at it. Where is it? It's in another screen of my desktop, which doesn't show up here on everything. Yep. Okay, we have some problem. Close. Okay, here it is. This is a sample file created from one of my own models. But what you only need to concern is that once you have your own model in play, first of all, you need to run this model directly to make sure it is okay, no error happens. So in this case, yeah, in this folder, the example file, the example folder contains all these things you might need just for reference. It is not used by the code. But for example, but if this E plus sim folder contains actually the file you want to calibrate, which then the code will read the file from this folder to do this calibration. For example, so maybe for this 15-minute data, you can copy this demo 15 minutes into your E plus sim file. Here it is. You copied it into the E plus sim file because you don't want the simulation output to mess up with the examples. So we can open it in Nginx+. The version of this is Nginx 8.6.0. I think you should all have the same version. I recommend you to update to the newest version. So basically, check the file location is correct. You need to specify the weather files. Okay, you can choose anywhere for weather file for this simulation run, but later on I will explain that later. But for now, I chose the weather file from the Nginx directory, weather data. I chose this one in Atlanta. Okay, you have run this already, right? You know how to run this in Nginx. So basically, you just simulate it, and you'll see all the output is a very small model. It's only a 2-zone model. I also have the OpenStudio file in the example folder, which you can open it in SketchUp and see how it goes. But basically, it's a very simple model. So it runs quite fast, about 40 seconds on my desktop. Okay, complete. I did some cleaning, so now you can only see one warning, which is very rare in your case. But usually warnings are fine unless you have thousands of them, just like Rudy mentioned last time. Yeah, I just want to clean things, so there's only one warning, so we should be fine. You can check the errors to see what other warnings are, and my warnings say, okay, there are 6 normally unused construction input, which doesn't matter, so I will just live with it. Okay, then after do the simulation, you can open the table file, which is usually a web page or HTML. You can check the result. Basically the energy, performance, something like that. Or once you run it successfully, it means that your model is okay. And then actually you can open the IDF editor to add the outputs. Just like I wrote in the manual. For this normal calibration to either monthly or hourly data, you might just only to use this output called okay. Might be too small, but it's called output meter file only. We usually just use output meter object, but this is better because if you only use model output meter, it will put this output into two files, which will mess up with some other files. So I only found this morning, so I changed that. So I think it will be easier. Basically, it's almost the same as the original file, but it is cleaner. So it's called output meter file only. You can see already in this example file, I have three outputs: electricity facility, district heating facility, and the district cooling facility. And each of them the reporting frequency will be time step, which means what are the time step you have, you'll get what time of output. So so if you are there's some issue I want to discuss here. If you are calibrating to monthly, it will be totally fine. You can just change this to hourly or a monthly, daily accordingly. That's very straightforward. But if you want to do some 15 minutes calibration, I mentioned in the tutorial, when you go to time step, either you just put it as 4, which means for every hour you only have 4 time step. So each equals 15 minutes. So basically, if your simulation output in time step will exactly match the actual consumption data in 15 minutes. Or you can put something like 12, which happens to be the shared multiple of 6 and 4. So which means this case, first it requires you the time step to be can divide. What to say? I forgot the word, but basically it should 60 divided by this number should be an integer. So yeah, the default is 6 is fine, 4 is fine, but you want to put 8, it doesn't work. So that's why I put it 12, because then, which means every time step is 5 minutes. Every time step is 5 minutes. But also, this is also a multiple of 4, so which means for the 15-minute data, consumption data, I need to average or sum 3 time step data in my output. Because this is a 5-minute output, when I do this in the output meter file, it should be like it's basically three 5 minutes data aggregate into one 15-minute data, so it can correspond to the actual simulation, actual consumption data very well. That's one thing about time step. But if you don't follow with that, or you can simply choose to be hourly and do something on your consumption data. You manually aggregate your consumption data into hourly or into monthly, whatever, and then do this accordingly. That's one thing. Another thing is, in order to avoid any mess up for this object, you need to make sure all of the outputs have the same reporting frequency. That's very important for my code to work. You can change that if you want to do some advanced calibration, which is another mode, but for this basic mode, make sure you have the reporting frequency to be the same. But I think that would be pretty much enough for your case.
What about missing data? Did you already talk about that? So if I have some hours that my consumption data is not available,
Okay, you can go to advanced mode, which require a lot of manually cleaning things, if that is the case.
Okay, and so the advanced mode allows me to just specify the hours for which I ignore. Is that how it works then?
The advanced mode allow you to do everything. You need to manually specify where your outputs are in the output files. If you go with this default mode, it will search for the output for you, so don't need to specify the output where they are. Yeah, so.
Got it.
So, okay, so in the nggpass file, make sure you have this outputs right here in output meter file only. Yes, if you want to do some advanced things, there is another output called output variable, which is more than the common metering thing. You may want to have some zone, air, temperature. Now you will have it, and you also have the recording frequency to be the same whatever you like, if that is good for you. Or if you really want to do some advanced calibration, you can get some other thing called, actually I have another file called demo advanced. I'll open it for you. It involves some other tweaking, but for now you can see in this advanced file, in addition to the 3 meters, which still exactly the same as in the simple file, first you have output variable to be zone air temperature in case you have hourly or even sub-hourly metered zone temperature. Also, something I changed in this output table summary. This is really bad. I cannot see why do that. What is this name? Yes, output table summary something. That object. The default is, I think the default is all summary, but you can choose to go to all summary and monthly. So that's that. So finally, yeah. Sorry, feel free to come ahead. I really don't know why this looks very blurry. But yeah, change from all summary to all monthly, so that when you run simulation, you can actually have a summary, monthly summary in the table file as well.
Is there no way that you can zoom in on this screen?
No,
No?
not too advanced. I don't know why it's so big.
Because yeah, everybody behind this line, it may be my eyes, but I can absolutely not read it. So, and even you can't read it.
No, I cannot read it from this.
But okay, we'll we
Can open the magnifier on the.
definitely Yen cannot read it.
Magnify?
Yes,
Yeah.
she doesn't have her glasses on.